In the last little while, we've had this declaration from the president of martial law. It was a shock announcement that came late on television, broadcast to the nation, with the president saying he had been forced to take the measure to save South Korea's democracy. The declaration was immediately condemned by the leader of South Korea's main opposition parties, who've called their MPs to go to Parliament, and yet that National Assembly, the Parliament building, blocked off. But the president saying he had no choice but to resort to martial law. I declare martial law to protect the Free Republic of Korea from the threat of North Korean communist forces. Well, I just want to play the moment that South Korea's president announced that martial law and the reasons for actually imposing it. Have a look.
친애하는 국민 여러분.
I hereby declare an emergency martial law in order to defend the Free Republic of Korea from the threat of North Korean communist forces and to eradicate the shameless pro-North anti-state forces that are depriving our people of their freedom and happiness. This measure is necessary to safeguard our constitutional order of freedom.
저는 이 비상계엄을 통해
Through this martial law, I will rebuild and protect the Free Republic of Korea, which is falling into the depths of national ruin.
이를 위해 저는 지금까지 패약질을 일삼은 망국의 원흉 반국가
I will decisively eliminate anti-state forces who have been wreaking havoc and are the main culprits of our nation's downfall. This is an unavoidable step to protect the freedoms and safety of the people, as well as to ensure the nation's sustainability and security against the anti-state forces attempting to overthrow our system.
Well, there it is. That was the announcement that came in the middle of the night with no warning. These are the live pictures of the Parliament building. You can see the South Korean flag there fluttering at the top, and there are a number of people who've got as close as they can, but we know that various police buses have been parked and moved to block the entrance to that Parliament building, with certainly supporters of the president eager not to allow those MPs into the Parliament building, because the opposition were trying to get MPs there, trying to actually have a vote to overturn what has been declared. They have condemned the move, calling it unconstitutional, and had they been able to get inside and have a vote, potentially they could have tried to overturn what has been announced, but that is not happening, because that whole area has now been cordoned off and sealed off, and that's what you're seeing there in the pictures. I was saying a little earlier that helicopters too had landed on the parliamentary roof, the building there, as certainly more reinforcements were called to that Parliament building, and all political activities banned under this declaration of martial law that came in the last couple of hours. So those some of the live pictures that are coming in to the building. I want to actually bring in a guest, Elizabeth Braw, a senior fellow with the Atlantic Council's Transatlantic Security Initiative. Her focus is on defence against grey zone and hybrid threats. And Elizabeth, thank you for being here on the programme. I know I was going to talk to you about what the new head of Britain's Cybersecurity Centre has been warning a little earlier in the day, but you join us as we watch these really fluid and certainly surprising developments in South Korea. What are you making of what you're seeing?
These are extraordinary developments and frankly quite unexpected, but we do know that South Korea had been in a difficult position for in recent weeks due to Russia's and North Korea's increasing collaboration and the West's inability to do anything about it. So Russia and South Korea teaming up in recent weeks to bring North Korean soldiers to Russia. And crucially, from a South Korean perspective, that was a quid pro quo. We don't know exactly how Russia is helping and will be helping North Korea in return. But those soldiers didn't come for free. And that is the South Korean concern, hugely destabilizing.
That is really interesting, because I was asking one of our previous guests about exactly the point that you raise. When we don't know what is happening, this may be a political tussle, but it is entirely possible that those broader parts of the equation now involving North Korea, involving Russia, they could be at play here in some way, couldn't they?
They could, and we should remember that the situation between the two Koreas is always very sensitive, and as I think your viewers know, it's not a situation of peace between the two countries. It's essentially a frozen conflict that's where the two countries continue to coexist along the demarcation border. Demarcation line, I should say, but it's not in any way a secure arrangement that can be counted on to hold under any circumstances. And so if we now see Russia helping North Korea in exchange for these soldiers, that could significantly change the equation. And we don't know what the South Koreans know, or what the South Korean government knows, that we as the Western public, or indeed the global public, don't know. It could be that the threats are such that the South Korean government felt they had to take action. But all of that all of that information is not yet known. But what is clear is that the situation has deteriorated for South Korea in recent weeks. And it's not just about the North Korean soldiers going to Russia. It is about increasing collaboration between Russia and North Korea.
Well,
more generally, there has been going.
Just to spell that out really clearly, one of the worries has been that the quid pro quo is that Russia supplies North Korea with some sort of weapons, technology and help in that area. That is what is alarming so many people, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And North Korea, we should remember, has been making great strides itself in developing new weapons, testing them with great fanfare and publicity. And now we have Russia contributing to that effort, and there has been an increasing collaboration. We've seen increasing collaboration between Russia and North Korea ever since the Ukraine war began, when Russia was frozen out of the globalized economy through Western sanctions, and as a result, focused much more on collaboration, economic and otherwise, with countries that are willing to trade with it. North Korea is a key protagonist in that, China important as well. And that is not making the situation any easier for South Korea being located where it is.
Just give me your assessment of the impact of this level of insecurity now in this part of the world.
It is a rapidly deteriorating situation where all kinds of rules are being broken. It's not just Russia invading Ukraine. It's Russia and China openly violating rules. For example, when it comes to global shipping, Russia by exporting oil through the shadow fleet, China by importing that oil. That is the sort of activities that North Korea has long been involved in. But it is concerning from a European perspective, from a Northern American perspective. But our countries are located at some distance from the worst aspects of this, the most concentrated aspects of this, where South Korea is located, obviously quite close to both Russia and North Korea. And we should also remember that China is a country that can, when it wants, retaliate quite openly against South Korea. A few years ago, when the United States decided to place a particular kind of missile system in North Korea, in South Korea, China retaliated by staging a boycott against South Korean boy bands. So it's not a good part of the world to be located in when tensions increase, and that's what we are seeing at the moment.
Elizabeth, I wonder if you can just stay with us, because I just want to bring in for the next few minutes Soo-min Hwang, who's a former head of the BBC's Korean service. And Soo-min, in terms of the latest, I'm just reading the latest wires from the White House saying they're monitoring closely as South Korea declares martial law, as you would expect. So many eyes on these live pictures, on the events there in South Korea. What is the latest that you're hearing?
So what we're seeing is the footages where people have gathered in front of the National Assembly, where all the political activists have now been banned under the martial law, and people are chanting, "This is a sin, you shouldn't be doing this," and people are shouting at the gate, "Open the door, open the door." And that was the latest video footage I've seen on social media. Some of the details of the martial law has now come out, where all publishers and press activities has to be monitored under the law, and political activities, including protests and any gatherings, are banned. And if they are broken, then under the law now people can be searched without warrant, arrested or detained.
So those are major, major restrictions that are coming in. Is there a curfew?
Curfew, we don't have the details yet. The last martial law that South Korea had was in 1979, which was a while ago, and that happened after the assassination of a dictator who seized power under the military coup. Now it's a very different time. People are a lot used to the democratic society, so people are in utter shock, and they are very angry that this is happening right now.
We were hearing there from Elizabeth some of the wider issues that perhaps might be coming into play here, but there's also the potential that this could be just a political tussle. The opposition had perhaps had an inclination to impeach the president. Could this be simply a political battle here?
That is a lot of the view, actually. The President Yoon Suk Yeol has said that he has put in this place because of the anti-North Korean, for the North Korean, to protect from the North Korean forces. However, he has not really specified what that was. And in Korean political scene, pro-North, that term is used not for the people who are actually pro-North, but just as to mudsling. So a lot of people are reading this as just a term to attack the opposition party. Currently, the opposition party is holding the majority in the parliament, and lately they have sought to impeach a lot of the cabinet members. The Yoon Suk Yeol's first lady is currently under a lot of scrutiny for influence peddling and corruption, and people and the opposition party are very unhappy that she is not thoroughly being investigated. And also this week that they have slashed the government budget, which Yoon Suk Yeol is not very happy about. So all of these context brings to an analysis that this is more politically driven rather than the national security itself.